Okay, so normally when I make a video, I have a very clear idea of how I'm going to what sort of actionable steps I'm going to give to improve your life in this video. Um, but today, this video isn't so much about actionable steps, there's a lot that I don't know about this topic, but what I'm going to give you is a sort of philosophical framework to think about investments effectively. And just sort of give you sort of my mindset towards investing, how I invest my money, and there's, where there's something you can take away from it as well. So, first of all, what do I mean by investments? Well, when I say investment, I'm not really talking about, crypto or, stocks and shares and stuff like that. Like, to be honest, if you're interested in it, I definitely think look into investing. It's fascinating. I mean, I work with this stuff quite a lot, kind of, doing people's 1099s and stuff like that, and it is interesting, but I think for a lot of people it can be a distraction. Um, when I use the word investment, what I really mean is just what you spend your money on to improve your life. And I think if that's not an investment, then I don't know what is. So basically, I think this is how men should live their lives, and I think a lot of male psyche is really geared towards investing. Stuff like gambling. When you really think about the root of gambling, it is kind of an investment. You're putting blind faith in one particular thing, scoring on that round of the roulette table, and you get money. Men like this, like the sort of risk of making an investment, even if they're not 100% sure if it's gonna pay off or not. And if you direct that kind of desire for gambling in like a healthy way, then you'll do very well for yourself, basically. So yeah, I think basically everyone should think about what they spend money on in terms of investment. I think it becomes much more powerful when every time you take your card, you think about that is like an investment rather than just like another purchase. And you're thinking to yourself, how is this going to pay me back in the future? Now, not everything is going to be an investment with that in mind. If you're, you fancy a coffee and you go to a Pret, maybe that's not an investment. But I think my aim at the moment is to spend as much of my money as I can on stuff that's going to improve my life in the future, in some sense. And so this really broadens what it means for an investment, because some stuff that I'm spending money on, that I'm investing in, I am kind of doing it with the idea that I'm going to get more money back in the future as a result of it, in some sense. For example, I bought a GoPro recently, and part of why I bought a GoPro was it was to do these vlogs on my other channel. Part of why I bought that was a large part of it was just because I wanted to film better content, make it look nicer and stuff like that. But I'd be lying if there wasn't a part of me that thought, if I take this seriously and actually make like really beautiful content, then I'm more likely to get more followers, and then I'm more likely to get paid off AdSense. That was basically my thought process. But I think the thing with investments, as I see it, is you don't have to really have any idea of the money you're getting back as such. It's more about, there can be other things that factor into play, and there will be people who say, screw it, just worry about money. But I do think that's a bit of an immature way of looking at it. When you really think about it, your health, your relationships with other people, these are things that you want to improve. And the thing is, the fastest way to improve these things is by spending money, really. You've got to be organised, you've got to set your life up properly as well, but you have got to spend money on them as well. And therefore, why not view it as an investment? And there are a lot of investments that I've made. Most of the investments really don't really have any direct relationship to money per se. It's more about quality of life. If I spend money on, I don't know, some better food, so so I feel better. Now, in a sense, again, like that's going to make me more productive, and in some sense make me more money as well. But I would say a lot of them really, I'm just focusing on investing in the experience of life, making that as fruitful and as meaningful as possible. And who knows, maybe that's a bit wishy-washy, but that's my take on it. So I'm going to run you through like what my sort of main investments are, how I categorise what I decide to invest money on, and then I'm gonna sort of break down how I think about it and whether I recommend focusing on just one set of investments at a time, or whether you should spread them equally throughout. So let's go, guys. So the first thing, the sort of biggest list of investments I have really is kind of business stuff. And when I say business, what I really mean is stuff that is basically creative endeavours that I want to earn money from. So I would say this YouTube channel is a business in a sense, because it's a creative endeavour that I want to earn money from. I'm promoting my my coaching on this, but I enjoy the creative element of just recording videos. My second channel, where I'm doing vlogs, that is a creative endeavour. If I get enough subscribers, I will be able to get paid from AdSense and stuff like that. And there are various other sort of creative endeavours that I want to work on in the future as well. So maybe a business is the wrong word to term it, but I think it's kind of an easy way to call it. Basically, it's an easy thing to call it. So there's stuff that I want to spend money on in the realm of business. So I already mentioned the GoPro. That was an investment in the quality of my filmmaking. But to be honest, the big investment stuff is more just actually getting to the places that I want to film. So most of the stuff that I'm spending money on at the moment is just the travel vlogs. So for example, going to Cornwall, been to Milton Keynes, stuff like that. I had to travel there, get accommodation, buy food while I was there, stuff like that. And that all costs money, right? And there are also various things I want to spend money on to just improve the quality of the videos per se. So I want to get a better laptop, one that I can edit things on better, more efficiently, and just quicker, frankly. And there are small things like I need to get more batteries for my GoPro. GoPros have very bad battery life, by the way, guys. If you're thinking of buying a GoPro, that's one thing I'll warn you on. The battery life is atrocious. And so they all come under the sort of broad category of business. And the second one is health. So by health, I'm just talking about anything that really gives me more energy. It kind of boils down to that. So stuff that improves my sleep, improves my diet, just makes me feel more relaxed and alert, makes me feel more comfortable in my own body, this kind of stuff. As well as like just physical fitness, being strong, or having good cardio, stuff like that. And so I've got various sort of things, like I want to get some kind of fitness tracker at some point, like a Oura Ring. I've heard these things are a bit of a, they don't necessarily work, but I want to try them out anyway. I'm interested to get data about my sleep quality and stuff like that. I've heard about these mattress toppers again, do they work, do they not? But I'm willing to give it a try, potentially in the future, when I have more money. Then I've got stuff like I want to get some red LED lights, because at the moment, basically when I go to bed, what I like to do is I like to have red lights in my room for like the last couple hours of the day, rather than just an overhead light. Like when the sun goes down, just switch on some red lights and just have, because it's better for your circadian rhythm or whatever. At the moment, I'm just using this sort of flag. over a lamp, which is probably a bit of a fire hazard, but it's worked for me so far. But it looks a bit silly, it looks a bit kind of cheap, so I want to just get some proper, just some AD lights, have them in my room, and that would be more efficient. For a while I was worried about like the dust in my room. I thought it was blocking my nose. I wasn't able to nose breathe so much, so I bought, in fact I'll just show you, I bought an air filter over there, you see it on the floor. And yeah, so stuff like that is, I bunch it all into health, stuff that improves my health. In a sense, you earn more money if you're healthier, but I think the primary motivation really for most people of health is just its own aim. It's just nice to experience life when you're truly healthy in like a holistic way. So that's health. And the next big category really is just social relationships. And there are two kind of categories I've got for this. One is like dating life, and one is I call is brotherhood, which is just friends basically. But I use the word brotherhood because it sounds a bit more exciting. So for dating life, a lot of that is just spending money on things that's going to get me exposure to women that I want to date, basically. And that sounds a bit kind of weird to think of it like that, but I have kind of concluded that that is really the main goal with improving your dating life. It is just to surround yourself with women, and you need to work on your game a bit, or your chat a bit, and improve your style and stuff like that. But fundamentally, I think you just need to put yourself in front of enough women. That's step one, right? And then when it's not working out with those women, they're not interested in you, then we start looking inward a bit more, or start improving your fashion, stuff like that. But I think the fundamental step for most people is just getting yourself in front of enough women, and it's extremely hard unless you go to school, basically. Unless you're still in school, it can be very hard just to not meet women, just not meet enough women to build a good dating life. You might have a busy work where there are lots of women, or you might, I don't know, have a big friend group or something like that. But I think a lot of men, they're quite solitary. They're quite they just don't, they're not getting enough sort of traffic. They're not getting enough people coming through, and they're like, oh no, I must be really bad with women. And it's like, no, you're just not meeting enough women. It's as simple as that. So this is kind of stuff like just go into things where I'm going to meet women. So that might just be social stuff, so I have the money to go and go to a pub or a party, or some kind of social event. To be honest, it could be so one thing for health that I want to improve is my flexibility, my posture, and going to a yoga class would be good to improve my posture. But I'd be lying if I said that wouldn't also be a good way to meet women, because at the end of the day, you're meeting lots of girls in a yoga class who are interested in looking after their health. They're quite wholesome, quite holistic, and we have that in common. So it's probably also an extremely good way to meet women through yoga. So again, it sounds a bit weird to sort of think about dating life in that way, but I just think if you want to be proactive, you've got to find ways to put yourself out there, and the best way to do that is just to pay for entry, basically. Pay your way to sort of get into places where girls are. That is kind of how the psychology works. And then there are some other things. I think if you want to improve your dating life, you should work on fashion as well. You want to look your best, and that creates a sort of positive feedback loop. If you look better, you feel more attractive, and you're more likely to approach women, and they're more likely to say yes to you because you look good. So I think that's kind of the number two thing with dating life is your appearance. You know, investing in your appearance, what you wear, making sure you have like, I don't know, good personal hygiene. You know, nail clippers, stuff like that. Just spending £5 on a pair of nail clippers, just so you always have clean nails. You know, little things like that go a long way as well. So then the next thing is brotherhood. So just meeting like-minded people, really. That is, I think, a huge thing to do. You know, most people don't have a very good social life, really. And I think a lot of that, you know, some of that is like you need to be disciplined enough just to like force yourself to go to social events, and there is some truth to that. But I think a lot of why men are kind of lazy about going to social events sometimes is because they're not meeting the kind of people they want to meet. I think this is almost a bigger problem. I find that, you know, a lot of the time I'm quite like antisocial. Like I really do just hyper focus on my own projects. You know, being honest, like I don't really go to the pub that much or like meet up with people. You know, I just get hyper focused on goals. You know, like I'm sitting here, you know, recording this video rather than, you know, I don't know, I could be having a coffee with a friend or something, but I just want to get this done, you know. Or like this weekend, you know, I went off to Cornwall to film that video. And, you know, normally the weekends are a time when you like socialise and stuff like that. But I just didn't care. I was like, I really wanted to record this video. And, you know, part of me says, oh, I should spend more time with friends, you know. And, you know, when I do spend time with friends, I do get like that warm kind of feeling of like, I'm part of a community, you know, I'm happy and stuff like that. But the trouble is there's still part of me that is kind of a bit unfulfilled, because when I'm, you know, I might be having a nice time, I'm sitting there in the pub, you know, or we're watching a film together or something, it's nice, but there's still part of me that feels unfulfilled. I think the best leverage to improving my social life, to be honest, is just by meeting people who, it's not a thing of supporting me in my goals, but just are interested in the same goals as me, you know, who I can just talk to about stuff I'm interested in, and like they're interested in it as well, you know. I think you do kind of need that for a basis of a really stable friendship. You know, like the best friends that I have, we do just talk about self-improvement a lot, you know, and you might think that's kind of sad or whatever, but in a sense, you know, people have friendships over football, stuff like that. Just all they talk about is football, or, you know, whatever it is. So I actually think, being realistic, you just do need to find friends that want to do the same thing as you. Not you know, you can have a few friends here and there who don't want to do the same thing as you, or you don't want to do the same thing as them, but you'll kind of go along with it because you want to spend time with them. Cool. But I think the best ROI friendships are friendships that are built on kind of a shared interest, a shared passion. Particularly as a man, I think for a woman it's different. You know, you can just sit and have a coffee and that's nice. You know, you can do that as a man, but really I think the best friendships is where you're just talking about, you know, one thing, or you both have a similar focus, you know. And I often see these travel vlog videos of people who like do travel vlogs together. So if you know Bored Bankrupt, and he's got a friend called Backpacker Ben who's also got a very successful YouTube channel, and they just go on trips together, and like the chemistry between them is so good, and they'll just be filming the same videos together, like, you know, each one will just film a video about one place, but they just have really good chemistry, and it's because they're both just working on their purpose together. And I did think like that's the kind of, I want to foster more friendships like that, you know, rather than just focusing on kind of nice friendships where it's like, oh, I can go to the pub and have a chat with them or whatever, but, you know, I feel like I could have lots of friendships like that and it still would leave something unanswered. And I think I just need both. I need to feel fulfilled in my purpose and have friends at the same time, you know. And compromising on either of them isn't really going to work. And so okay, how do I improve? That's kind of why I use the word brotherhood rather than friendship, because I do think you want something a little bit more profound than just a friendship. Okay, so how do I improve that? Well, much as I hate to admit it, I do think, I'm skeptical about some online communities, but I do think there's something to online communities that is really good, it's really powerful, in that it really does bring people together. And that is one thing that I want to do at some point, is just spend money on some kind of online community that is going to put me in touch with people who are similar to me, who I can kind of be authentic around, and that's like a good thing. So that's kind of, I'll say it's the biggest investment I have for brotherhood, is that. And to be honest, those are the main investments that I'm making at the moment. There are other things, like I've got a category of books that I want to read, which doesn't really fit into any of the other categories. But books, I think, do increase your richness of life. If you're reading books that you're really interested in, it's just an amazing feeling. And there are some things that I want to do just for the fuck of it. Like they don't really, maybe don't even like provide like a return investment as such, but I just want to try them out. So that's things like going, like, yeah, it's silly, but I've always wanted to just get a prep subscription. Like people always, I remember in my last job, everyone had a prep subscription, and like whenever we'd be walking about, they'd just be like, oh, I'm gonna get a prep quickly, and I always thought that was quite cool. I just wanted to try it, so it's stuff like that I just want to do for the fuck of it. But I think it's worth, like, if you do have a lot of stuff like that, just write it down, because it's better that you just know what it is rather than you invest in it sort of unconsciously, because then you don't really have it in control. I think it's better to have all your vices kind of there. If you do just want to spend, £500 on like a really big night out, just write it down on there, and then you can just, it's there, you want to do it, rather than like kind of you unintentionally do it. By unintentionally, I mean like you don't do it with intention. You just kind of do it, and then you're like, oh, actually that was a bit of a waste of money. Okay, so that's kind of my list of investments. Now, how do I think about investments? How do I decide what investments to make? Well, there are two ways you can go about it. One is you spread the net like very broadly, so you invest a little bit in each category, and this is the best thing to do, and this is kind of what I do at the moment. So I spend probably most of my money on the vlogs, videos, and I spend a little bit of money on sort of health stuff, and a little bit of money, probably less money, on social stuff, and it goes in that kind of line. But there is an argument to be made for just investing in just one thing, either health, fitness, or business, and just health, business, or social life, and just letting everything else just fall apart for a few months while you just focus on that one investment. Because it is when you have that laser focus, you can just really make big progress. And there is good argument for doing this, but the trouble is, which one do you choose? And this is the conundrum that I have at the moment, is that I don't actually know which one to invest in. And I could make a good case for all of them. So I would say there's a very good case for health being the one, because Carl Rahm, the YouTuber, if you know him, did a video about this, where he said, if you want to make more money, just invest in health. So because when you sleep well and you're eating well, you just have clearer thoughts, you can focus better, you become more productive, you'll just make more money anyway. It's as simple as that. Excuse me, and there is a lot of truth to that. I do think you want to invest in your health a lot. The trouble I have with it is it's not always obvious to me that I'm going to see the return on investment in quite as a solid way as it's advertised. You know, like I've experimented with, you know, some diets, like not eating carbs and stuff like that, and you know, I'm sort of 50-50 about whether it's actually making me more productive or not. I think a lot of it is like I need to fine tune my diet and get it, you know, it needs to be perfect. But some stuff, I feel like it's nice to be healthy, but I'm doing it because I want to be healthy rather than because it's going to make me more focused and that's going to earn me more money, you know. Like, let's say, you know, having a really expensive diet was going to make me more money, but it wasn't going to make me healthy, you know, would I still make the investment? You know, there's a kind of weird thing there. Are you just doing it for the health, or are you just doing it to make more money? Because if you just want to make more money, in a sense, why not just invest all that money into making more money? I suppose what Carl Ron would say is, yeah, but you're not healthy enough to like focus efficiently into to sort of turn that money into more money. But it's kind of fine. It's a fine brush. Like I do think if you have a baseline of focus, you know, if you're completely fucked, you know, if you have a really unhealthy diet, then maybe. But you know, if you're doing reasonably okay in your focus, then you know, maybe it would be more worthwhile to just invest in business. I don't know. But I do think the trouble with health is there is an element of risk that there doesn't seem to be with business. You know, I could spend money on a certain esoteric sort of thing to improve my health, and it wouldn't necessarily make a difference. You know, it's 50-50. Like, for example, this air filter I've got, you know, has it improved the air quality of the room? It's difficult to say. Am I glad I bought it? Yes, I'm definitely glad I bought it. You know, I think, you know, it was a bit of investment. It was like 80 quid, but I definitely think it was worth the investment. You know, has it improved my nose breathing? You know, is the air cleaner in my room? It's difficult to say. Similar with kind of certain sleep practices. You know, like I bought different pillows, stuff like that. You know, is it more comfortable to sleep like that? Yeah. You know, but is it making me more money because I'm sleeping so much better that I'm more focused during the day? Difficult to say. It's difficult to say. Yeah. Same with diet. Same with exercise. You know, you can sort of bioengineer these things forever. So that's kind of my perspective on health. The second one is business. So I do think money talks, right? And I have realised that I've spent most of my money already on business. So like, you know, just going to places that I can film vlogs, you know, spending money to improve the quality of my vlogs, you know, getting the GoPro, you know, spending money going to Cornwall, stuff like that. You know, I spent most of my money on business, and there is an argument that I should just spend it all on business and don't worry about anything else. I do think with the business, if I'm honest, I do think it's the one where I think there's the least, maybe not the highest ROI, but the least risk of stuff not working. Like, I do think if I just go to enough places and film enough content, I will get more subscribers, and eventually I'll get enough that I can advertise. You know, same thing happened with this YouTube channel here. You know, I just kept uploading videos, and eventually, you know, I just started getting followers. You know, I have a lot of faith in the system if you just do enough repetitions. Now, quality of video is important, but a lot of that just takes care of itself. A lot of creating high quality creative stuff is just spending enough time on it, I think. You know, on my first vlogs, they aren't that good. You know, like, I enjoy watching them for the nostalgia and stuff like that, but, you know, there's so much stuff that I'm just doing really badly. Like, I'm not even filming stuff well. You know, there's not much of a narrative flow to the vlog. You know, I don't really put myself out there. I'm not really talking to lots of people. Yeah, there's a lot that I just haven't thought out very well, and I'm filming it on my iPhone, for fuck's sake, you know. But if you watch some of my later videos, you know, they're still not, I'd say, at the point where I'm like, yeah, this should get like 1,000 views. Although I think the videos that I am starting to record now, I'm increasingly putting faith in them. I do think they could get like proper numbers on the algorithm, but they're better. They are better, you know. And what I've realised slightly is, it's not like I put any more effort into them. You know, I put the same amount of effort into the first ones as I did to the new ones. But the difference is I just had the knowledge of what to put my energies into. So they're just better anyway. And I can see that stretching into the future. You know, every time I record a video, it's just better. It's the exact same with these YouTube videos. You know, so I know that if I just spend enough time on these YouTube videos, they just will get better. They will get more followers, and eventually I'll be able to earn an income from them. So that's very tempting to me. That's a good argument for just putting all the effort into that. But also, simultaneously it's an argument to not invest money into it, because you know that you're going to get the return on it. So, in a sense, what's the rush? How about invest in stuff like health and relationships, where there's a bit more uncertainty? You don't quite know what you're doing with it so much. You know, there's, you know, I can see me just focusing on business. I can't really see myself failing with it. You know, I'll come up against challenges, I'll have lots of setbacks, but I do think if I just keep doing it, I'll eventually get there. Like, I know what I need to do. But with the other two investments, like relationships and fitness, I'm slightly more unsure. You know, I don't really know what investing my money into is going to work. You know, is it going to be, take the example of fitness that I just talked about earlier, you know, is it going to be investing money in sleep that's going to improve my focus? Is it going to be the diet? You know, I'm not quite sure, and I feel like I'm going to waste, in a sense, in inverted commas, more money doing it. It's going to be a more difficult road. But then if I can solve health, then brilliant. It's like, I've got that sorted. Now I'm super healthy, and I can just focus on business. And same with relationships. You know, I sort of talked a bit about it earlier, what I think, but I don't know for certain that, you know, going to a yoga class, I'm going to meet lots of girls that I'm interested in. You know, I don't know that improving my fashion is going to help, you know, my dating life. You know, I'll look better. I'll probably look more attractive to girls, be more confident, whatever. But is that the thing that's holding me back from a relationship at the moment? You know, is that the reason why I've not, you know, I'm not in a relationship at the moment? It's difficult to say. You know, it could be something I'm not even thinking about. You know, I don't have that sense of business. I don't think there's something I'm not thinking about. Something that I should be investing in, but I'm not. I know that, yeah, okay, good laptop to edit videos, and just going to the places, and it's as simple as that. But with health and relationships, it's a little bit more murky. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with it at the moment. And yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed following along, understanding my mindset, and there's stuff you can implement with this as well. I've got to go to work actually, so I'm going to leave you with one more piece of advice, and that is, with investments, if you're bad with money, if you're a bit trigger happy, where you find yourself spending money on like takeaways or coffees that you don't want to, just focus on investing as much of your paycheck as you can as soon as possible. So for example, with me, literally the week I got paid last week, yeah, at the end of the month, I think like on the 30th. And the following weekend, I just went straight to Cornwall and blew like basically half my paycheck on that trip. Because, and in a sense, you know, I could have gone like, oh, I should have saved that money a little bit more, maybe done it at the end of the month as a bit of a treat, stuff like that. But another part of me was like, no, I need to spend this money on something productive that I want to spend it on like as soon as possible, because I knew that if I waited to the end of the month to do this trip, there'd be part of me that wouldn't take it seriously. There'd be part of me that would be like, oh, I can spend £3 on a coffee, or I can, you know, buy some unnecessary stuff without intention that I don't really need. That would sort of facilitate the possibility of me getting to the end of the week and actually being like, oh shit, I don't quite have enough money to do this trip now. But if I just went as soon as I got paid, then I'd spend that money, and there'd be no option to. You know, now I don't have the option to spend. You know, I don't have that much money for the rest of the month. You know, I've got enough to survive, to buy food and whatever, but you know, I don't have money to be really sort of spending stuff on unnecessary stuff, like you know, just buying a coffee every morning. Yeah, I know, just pointless stuff. You know, if you've got the money, by all means buy a coffee, but you don't want it getting in the way of your goals, basically, that's what I'm saying. So I've kind of forced myself to be very frugal. You know, now it's like, oh, I've got to meal prep, I've got to buy groceries from cheap supermarkets, you know, stuff like that, and it's great because I've just forced that on myself. You know, I don't have a choice, because what else am I going to do? You know, so that's a little sort of hack that's worked for me. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. As always, top link in the description. Doing some one-on-one coaching, be great to hear from you. But otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.